Hey everybody. So we wanted to first, before we start, thank you guys for your patience with us lately. We've not been as consistent as we want to be, and largely that has been because of the topic that we're going to cover today. And that is memory work. So memory work in therapy is when you begin actually going into the different traumatic memories, starting with more minor and moving your way up to more intensely traumatic events, and working your way through the visual of what happened, all of the sights, sounds, scents, etc., other sensation feelings that you get, and the emotional feelings. Now, the way that we have been doing it is we have been going through each individual section of the memory one piece at a time. This helps us not to get too overwhelmed. So we start with the story, the visual of the memory, and we work our way through that part. Next, we work on adding in each of the physical sensations, and then we work on adding in the emotions. But once we're finished with all of that, we also have to deal with any present emotions. This may not be the way that every therapist does memory work with their clients, and that's perfectly fine and valid. You gotta find what works for you. This is just what works for us. But even though we're taking all of these steps in order to be more grounded and to work through it at a pace that's not too overwhelming, it is still really difficult. And so we wanted to give you guys a little bit of an overview of what it really looks like, while not scaring you away, obviously, because it's a very important part of healing, in our opinion, to work through especially the emotional aspects of traumatic events in order to heal from them. We wanted to be able to talk honestly about what memory work is and what it isn't. So what it is it helps you put everything into perspective. It helps you to really look at what happened and really understand the impact that it had on you and everyone else in the system. And it helps you to understand more of who you are as an individual and as who all of you are as a system as well. It helps you to understand where you come from a little better. And working through the memories helps to alleviate a lot of the unpleasant PTSD-related symptoms, flashbacks, and other things that go along with these memories continuing to be unresolved. Now, that said, memory work is not easy. It is one of the more difficult aspects of therapy, and that is why stabilization comes first. Trauma processing is not your first step, and it shouldn't be, but it's also not an easy step. Working your way through traumatic memories takes a lot of mental energy, a lot of physical energy, and a lot of emotional energy. It's very draining in a lot of ways. So if you're beginning in memory work, it's definitely important to make sure to practice self-care. Take time in between working on memories to really ground yourself in the present and to help yourselves recalibrate. Anybody in the system who has any particular needs that can be met safely, try to meet those to the best of your abilities. And try to find ways for everyone to get back to a sense of stability and comfort before trying to work on another memory. It is really important with memory work not to overdo it. You can't try to do everything at once. It will get overwhelming. Now, what memory work is it's not magic. It's not a cure-all. It's not going to suddenly fix all of your problems. It helps you and aids you in healing, but it's not going to suddenly erase the fact that you all have been traumatized. It is not going to stop a person with DID or OSDD from feeling traumatized, from being hurt from carrying around the memories that they experienced. It's not going to erase their impact. It's simply going to lessen the strength of that impact in the present. It's going to make it so that the memories no longer negatively affect you on a day-to-day basis and are no longer messing with your current day life. But it's not going to make the memories any less unpleasant to acknowledge. And that is one of the hardest parts with memory work, is not only do you have to work your way through the memory, you have to acknowledge that this happened to you, to your system, to one of your system mates, and thus to all of you by virtue of the fact that you share a body. And for anyone out there who has a loved one with DID or OSDD and is trying to be supportive, please remember that it is really difficult for people who have DID and OSDD to break down the barriers of amnesia or denial, if amnesia is not present, to accept that these things happened and that they had an impact. That is one of the most difficult steps in memory work, is actually accepting the true impact the event had on not just the host, but every other member of the system as well. And it is not uncommon for the host to not be the one who's present during memory work if the memory did not directly involve them and the other members of the system are not yet comfortable sharing that information with them. It can still be worked through with a trained professional or on your own if you've had enough prior healing under your belt and you've done memory work previously in a professional setting. You may be able to do some memory work on your own, though it's definitely advised to have a professional help you. They can aid in stabilization in a way that's much more difficult to do on your own. But when you do this... Oh, I lost my train of thought. Just a minute. Yeah, dissociation sucks, guys. Sorry. Oh, I remember now. Here we go. The host may not be the one present because the other member of the system is not yet ready to share that with them, and that's okay. It is okay for other members of the system to process the memories of the events that they specifically experienced without sharing that information with the host right away. It is something that it is probably a very good idea that they share eventually, and we would highly recommend that, as do most professionals that we've ever spoken to, but it's not something that has to happen right now. So if there's a particular member of the system who feels the need to process a particular memory, they don't have to wait until the host is ready to have that information or until they're ready to share that information. It's okay for them to go ahead and process that information and to alleviate their own suffering and symptoms, which will in turn help the rest of the system in the time when they feel comfortable working through that. It's not a requirement that everyone be aware of the contents of the memory all at the same time. And that doesn't go just for the host, that's for any members of the system. It may take time before everyone is comfortable sharing all of the information about memories with everyone. And that's okay. So we hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, please like, subscribe, and don't forget to hit that notification bell. Have a good day, everybody.